Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. If you run a cafe, a hotel, a coffee shop, any business in the hospitality industry, this series is for you. It's a brand new series called Hospitality in 9 that's going to be published across all the socials throughout the month. So make sure that you follow that hashtag and get involved. I'm going to be bringing you 20 years of hospitality experience and over a decade of digital marketing so that I can combine both of those to help you grow your business most effectively and most efficiently. Now, Hospitality in 9 is going to deep dive into common problems and oversights within the hospitality industry. It's also going to give you some advice, some tips, and guide you in some very simple ways that you can improve your business so that you can get ahead of your competition. Today, I'm going to go through a whole load of different topics, and I'm just going to break those down for you now so you know what to expect over the rest of this content. Today we're going to talk about investing in your team and why that's never going to be a waste of money. Such an important topic, looking after your team and making sure that your business is going to grow through the people who work in it. The importance of building relationships and customer service. This is something I can't emphasize enough. Ultimately, it's called hospitality, and we know that that is all about being welcoming and making people feel like they should be comfortable and they should be able to feel really welcome wherever they're going in that industry. The importance of valuing the role of social media, including the £6,000 gap. Yes, that's right. I'll break that down for you a little bit later. But the £6,000 gap is really crucial in why a lot of businesses are not necessarily doing what they should be doing by way of marketing and making those results really stand out for them in the hospitality industry. So really excited to break that one down for you. Talking about agencies versus a social media team or a team member and how you can make that decision whether it's right to go with an agency or a team member for your business depending on your current circumstances. We're also going to look at the Insta effect, the power and the damage of Instagram and social media as a general rule, but specifically honing in on Instagram because people do eat with their eyes. So it's a very visual platform and it's got a whole load of insights to share with you around that. I'm going to talk about the common pitfalls in creating media. So a lot of people create social media content for their hospitality business, but I want you to avoid the pitfalls that I'm going to share with you and share some good practices as well to help you do a better job when it comes to creating media for your hospitality business. We're going to talk about organization and communications. These are absolutely crucial and fundamental. This is not business related. This is digital marketing, social media related, and to do with all of the media that you put out, the marketing, the sales, the social media content that engages with people to get them into your business and ultimately builds that relationship. We're going to look at the fact that so many businesses in hospitality rest on their previous successes. Rather than trying to build new ones, they just celebrate everything that's happened before, and we want you to build on it rather than just sit back and focus on your previous successes. And the last one, super important, is all about asking for help. It's going to help you to fast track your success, and I can't wait to break this down for you. So we're going to go through this. Hospitality in 9 is the hashtag. Make sure you follow it across all the different social platforms. We'll be putting content out throughout the whole month around this topic and the things that I'm talking about in this video today, deep diving a little bit more into each of the areas that I cover in this video. And they're going to go out as blogs, they're going to go out as social media updates across all the social platforms, and we'll be using Hospitality in 9. That's Hospitality, IN, the number 9 as a hashtag. Check it out on the platforms on a regular basis, see what new content's coming out. And on those platforms where you can, make sure you hit that follow button because there's going to be loads of content specifically helping the hospitality industry. So let's get into this. I'm going to be screen sharing with you today. We're broadcasting using a phenomenal piece of software called StreamYard that's going to allow me to screen share and be on video to give you some real examples and show you the statistics and the places where we've got all the information from that backs what we're going to be sharing with you today. Remember that I've spent more than 20 years in the hospitality industry. I've done everything from schools catering all the way through to working for Sir Terence Conran. I've worked inside Windsor Castle, at the Open Golf, inside Silverstone. So I've got a lot of experience in the hospitality industry. I've worked as a chef, I've worked front of house, I've run bars, and so very broad understanding and knowledge in the hospitality industry. That then coupled with the degree I've got in digital marketing and the experience I've got from consulting with people like BBC in their social media department, running activations for people like Microsoft, and generally helping people to grow their businesses. We've literally taken a walkabout Australian sports themed bar that was getting about 200 people in and taking them from 200 to 1200 people. And that's the kind of results I want to help you to get using this series. But before I dive into all of this, if you know anyone else in the hospitality industry, tag them in the comments, hit the share button, get it in their inbox. It's not about keeping this to yourself. Let's grow the industry together. There's massive redemptive power in people helping one another within the hospitality industry. And later on, we're going to show you throughout this series how you can collaborate with other businesses in the hospitality industry without damaging your own brand and actually multiplying up the profits and the success that you can have as well. So let's jump into this. I'm going to quickly screen share some stuff with you here as we go through, but I want to dive into that first topic that I brought up at the beginning, which is why investing in your team is never a bad idea. Ultimately, the way that you treat your team, your staff, is how they're going to treat your customers. If you're only paying them the minimum wage, then as soon as a better offer comes up, they're probably going to leave, they're going to change roles. And so investing in them, and that's not just financially, investing in them, spending time, appreciating them, all of those kinds of things are going to make a fundamental change to how successful your business will be in the long run. We want quick wins, but we also want predictable long-term success for your business in the hospitality industry. So as we go through this, there'll be quick wins, but there'll also be things to consider longer term. If you don't keep good team members, it's going to cost you more money to train and to attract new talent into your business. And it's also a headache, and you're going to have to spend a lot of time training them, which ultimately takes up your time or other team members' time and makes things generally less efficient if you have a high staff turnover. So now is a fantastic time to be bringing new team members in and training them and trying to retain them. And I'll tell you why. There's two very important programs running here in the UK. If you're not in the UK, there's probably programs running near you, but I'm focused on the UK for these examples. Now, right now, you can get a £3,000 grant to be taking on a new apprentice. Now, this is a very, very short window on this because this actually is ending at the end of September. So we are on a very short time schedule for this, but there's always incentives, there's always programs going on, but these are the current examples that you could do right now. So this is not even going to cost you a lot of money to train up your team and your staff. And apprenticeships can actually be people who work in your business that you want to invest into, and you want to lift them up, and you actually want to help them to grow in their skill set, and ultimately to feel more empowered, more valued, and ultimately to serve your customers better. So the apprenticeships come with a £3,000 grant, as you can see on the website here. All of the links will be in the accompanying notes next to the video and next to the blogs that we're writing, where you'll be able to go and reference all of these pages that I'm showing you. So check those out down below this video or in the blog that you'll be reading. This is a great £3,000 there, depending what type of business and the size of your business, you actually can get 95% of that apprenticeship cost covered by the government, and you're only going to pay like 5% towards that, which means you can upskill your staff. Now, this is important, and as we go through this topic, I'm going to share with you why that's so important, but that's going to come a little bit later. The other program that's currently running, that's fantastic, and it's running till the end of December this year, is because of COVID, the government invested a huge sum of money into the Kickstart program. If you don't know anything about it, I'll give you a very quick rundown of it, and there's a little bit of information for you to read on the screen. The government is fully funding 25 hours a week for up to 6 months for people 16 to 24. Now, don't think that these people are necessarily unskilled. This is to prevent long-term unemployment, and that gives you the opportunity as a business to get an extra team member for the next 6 months while you're getting back on your feet. Maybe you needed a bit of additional help. Maybe it's just a good opportunity for you to leverage having extra help and support. Even if you weren't planning it right now, the funding is there to help you to do it. So this is for people of 16 to 24, and it's 25 hours a week, fully funded. That is their wages at the national minimum wage or national living wage, and also pension contributions and national insurance contributions. So it will literally not cost your business to take these people on. So a few things to consider is you have to have good cash flow in order to be able to do this. Your business will be assessed, and you do have to have these people in place before December. You do have to be approved as a business, but there's a couple of ways we can share with you if you want to reach out to us directly, that we can help you to go through that process a lot quicker and to get those people in place before December so that you can benefit all the way through till June next year. So really looking forward to helping some people understand that there's these great opportunities there. Again, investing in your team, making sure you're empowering them and you're giving them the best opportunities is going to be one of the most powerful things you can do in your business. How you treat them, how they feel, ultimately reflects on how they treat your customers, and ultimately that reflects on how successful your business is likely to be. Hospitality is all about personality. It's all about being able to make people feel like it's the best experience they've had. So I really want to help you to understand that a good set of staff or team, as you'll hear me keep referring to them, is going to help you far more than having a big team. You're actually better to have a smaller, better team than you are to have a huge team who all are okay. And I'll tell you why, is those people are going to feel more part of something that is a well-oiled machine. They're going to feel valued. They're going to feel like they've got the people behind them to back them if they need help with anything. They're not going to be afraid to ask for help and support when they need it. So a good, well-trained, tight-knit team is going to actually do wonders for your business. So investing in your team is going to help in that way. I want to give you the example that I hear all the time in the business world, and this is an interesting one, is there's a conversation that's quite often quoted about when we go to do things. There's obviously different people in different roles, and if you're a smaller business you might wear all the hats, but it's the chief financial officer of the business asking, what if we train these people and they leave? To which any good business owner or CEO would reply with exactly this: what if we don't and they stay? Now let that sink in for a minute. How many times you've been to somewhere that's a hospitality venue and you've had someone who doesn't really want to be there, someone who just is clock watching, they may be just there because they want a job, that you don't feel valued as a customer going there. Ultimately, investing in your team, making sure that they feel valued and getting them to understand the importance of how they treat people, being the longevity of that job, making it be somewhere they want to be rather than a place that they feel they have to be as a job. Make it somewhere people enjoy going to. That's what this conversation is about. If you don't invest in them, like I said, they're going to jump ship at the first opportunity. That's going to cause you headache and problems and additional costs. And obviously hiring everyone is actually more expensive to hire new staff and to train them than it is to retain your existing staff and team. So make sure you try to focus more on team than staff. Make sure you invest in them and make sure that you're giving them the support that they need to make sure that they can do the best job and serve your customers as best they can. Really love that example. It's going to cost you way more to retrain someone or to bring someone else in, because you've got to go through the hiring process, which takes up your time for interviews. You've got to do the advertising, which is going to cost you money and time. And then obviously when they get in, you have to train them as well. Now, interestingly, I'm going to share something here with you that's all about motivation, because of course when people are trying to bring people in, I've talked about not paying them on minimum wage because they're not going to feel valued and things like that. But actually there's some research and a study that's been done about the top 5 workplace motivators. Now there's loads of studies around this. This is just one of the examples that I want to share with you. Is money isn't the best motivator. Actually, as humans, we want to feel valued, we want to feel appreciated, and those are the kinds of things that show up when they look at what motivates people and what makes people want to work harder and excel in their job. And on this exact study here, they're talking about challenging work. not just turning up to work and going through the motions. They want to feel challenged at work. They want to be pushing forward and progressing. So taking people on apprenticeships or upskilling them or showing them some new things that maybe are a little bit beyond their current role, but give them the opportunity to grow as a person and as an employee, that's actually going to help them to value the job and want to stay there. Recognition, there you go, 2 on this list, and this list changes depending on the study, but recognition, saying thank you to people, appreciating people when they're doing a good job, acknowledging when they go out of their way, and just being really keeping your finger on the pulse of your team and where they're at and what they need. When you understand every individual in your team, it's actually going to be really easy to reward them and to make sure that you're tapping into what they want by way of recognition. It might be a thank you, it might be a gift card, it might be an extra day off, it might be a pay rise. They all change depending on the people. So it's dependent on the individual. You can't just have a blanket rule. Employee involvement. I know this one firsthand. I used to have a team of 18 to 24 year olds. So 40, 18 to 24 year olds. And for 2 years, we had 100% team retention. Now, when I talk about this, it is a team. I never talk about staff when it comes to this group of people. Their involvement was every single week. We had their input in the business. We updated them with what was happening. We welcomed their ideas. We gave them a forum to express things. We had a very open door policy. So they were heavily involved in growing that business. And that business went on to reach 3 million people without any budget. We won't be going into it today, but this comes into advocacy, looking at how you can utilize the team members you have to reach people that you can't as a business, but they can as an individual. And when they love what they do, they talk to people when they're not working, and that can be great for your business and brand. Job security. Again, COVID absolutely proved this, that lots of people won't be going back or haven't gone back to jobs that they had pre-COVID. Why? Because they suddenly realized they were doing a job that they didn't enjoy, they didn't feel safe and secure, and sure enough, when COVID hit, some businesses and some employers laid people off as quickly as they possibly could to save themselves without the consideration for the team, what it meant for them, and things like that. So those types of people are likely to be the types of people who consider them as staff, and staff kind of gives this connotation of a little bit disposable. We can replace you with other people. When it's team, they're involved, they're a part of the entity of the business. So think about how you talk about things. Compensation, obviously the financial side and rewarding them and things like that, that is going to be something that is important, because people do like to get the pay rise and they do like to have the bonuses and things like that, but it's nowhere near the top motivator, which most business owners actually think finance is the way to do it. And actually that shows that you don't care enough to bother finding out what matters to those individuals. So when I talk about investing in your team, it's never going to be a waste of money. They're going to help you grow your business. They're going to give you input. If you do all of the things that we've just talked about, it's going to help your business. Now, the next point I want to go into is the importance of customer service and relationship building. Now, of course, you know, I'm not teaching you to suck eggs here, but it is really, really important to know what's going on, right? So if you're looking at things and you want to know what's coming up next, I'm going to show you some trends. How much have you got your finger on the pulse for trends? This is literally data straight out of Google that is all about coffee shops, restaurants and hotels. And you'll see there's quite a common trend across all 3 of these terms on the internet, and people using them and how often they've been searching for them and things. And you'll see it's quite common between all of them. And don't worry, if you're a coffee shop owner watching this, it's just that hotels and restaurants have been searched for more than coffee shops on this example. But when I'll remove them in a minute, and you'll see the actual statistics for coffee shops have a very similar curve. It's just on a smaller scale. So I'm going to go through this now, but you can see commonality between all of these, which means the whole industry has common trends. This will obviously be affected by, you know, lockdown, when we could go out to eat, you know, all of those kinds of things. But there are some other things that you need to look at. So I'm going to use coffee shops as the one that we look at for this, just for the purposes of this demonstration. So I'm going to remove the other 2 from here. We're going to look at coffee shops. So here you go. This is giving you an indication of people looking at coffee shops over time. Now, there's a reason that I'm talking to you about what people are doing, and this is related to Google and search and people looking, because ultimately, as a business, if people don't find you, you don't have a business. You have to get people through the door. You could have the best business in the world. If no one turns up, you haven't got a business. So how are people finding you? How are they getting there? So what do people do to discover your business? A lot of businesses have been around for a while and they're resting on their laurels of the fact that people know they're there. But what are they doing? Because there's constant change happening. When everything changed and all those people who used to go on a Thursday night to that restaurant or a Friday to get their fish and chips, remember that their habits were broken during COVID, and actually now they can form new habits, which means your business might not be a part of that equation. So how do you stay involved in that? Well, it's really easy. You keep your finger on the pulse with the trends and you make sure that you're showing up and that you're staying connected and you're as visible as possible, staying front of mind. You were front of mind when you were a habit and a place that they like to go all the time, but those habits have been broken, and so it's really important to get people reforming them. And also those people, if they advocate for you, will bring people to your business as well. So this just gives you a little bit of data. We can deep dive into this on another occasion, but this is just one example. Now, I know for sure, and I've seen it over and over again with people that we've worked with across this industry in hospitality, and it works across other industries as well. So if you're watching and you're not in hospitality and you just happen to be watching the video, these apply outside of hospitality, but it's important, super important in hospitality. They're very good examples that we can showcase to you. So when people are trying to find somewhere to go, they're maybe looking for a new hotel, maybe they're looking for somewhere to eat, a restaurant or a cafe, maybe they want to go for a coffee, so they're looking for a coffee shop or a cocktail bar. Whatever it is they're looking for, they're going to go and do a search. We all know that people say go and Google it if you're looking to find out about something new, and that's exactly what I'm going to talk to you about today. Believe it or not, Google Maps is actually the #1 navigation app for all platforms, right? This is insane. A lot of people don't realize the power of Google Maps for your business. Now, when I do some teaching and training and public speaking, I share a lot about this, and the reason why is when you list your business on Google My Business, you're taking up one of the most powerful, biggest free pieces of real estate on the internet. If you've ever done a search on your computer and in the top right you've seen a map and some data about a business, that's a Google My Business listing. It's free to set up and any business can go and set that up. Even if you're working from home, you can set it up without your address on it. Contact us and we'll help you run through that. I'm not going into details, but you need to be set up on Google My Business. It's also like your website. It shouldn't be set and forget. You should be giving into that all the time. You should be updating it. There should be photos. There should be events. There should be more information about what's happening. You should make sure that your opening times are updated. I have literally in the last month been to some businesses based on their online opening hours. They weren't open. It was a bad experience, which means I'm less likely to go back. And if I've experienced that, so have other people. So 82% of smartphone users are actually using local searches. If you think about being in Google My Business, there's those little buttons you can press, restaurants near me, bars near me, pubs near me, or you can do your own search to find those types of businesses in the local area. 46% of all Google searches are linked to something local. If you think about what people do when they search on Google, they want the information, and quite often the next thing they want to know is, where is that place? So it makes sense that a large proportion of search actually bypasses Google and is sometimes done inside of maps, and it's a growing number. I know that this statistic has gone up since I last looked at it, so I know this is a rise and it is a trend that is happening. So right now, what are you doing to get those people in? Have you set yourself up on Google My Business and claimed that real estate? There is actually something worse than not having set up your own business and not having control of it, in the fact that you may have a Google My Business listing that is created by a customer checking in when you don't have a listing. That means you suddenly have this listing that you don't know about, that people are talking on and posting photos of your venue, good or bad, and you're not part of the conversation. As a business in hospitality, you have to be part of the conversations outside of your venue as much, if not more, than the conversations that happen in your venue. I have no doubt if you're invested enough to be watching a video like this, you are very invested in creating the best experience in your venue. But when people walk out of that door, what are you doing to stay in the conversation, to stay connected, to remind them about the great experience they had with you, to encourage them to come back? It takes a number of visits to get people in a habit of coming in and that they've accepted that you're a place that is on their radar and that they would plan to come back to. I think the statistics off the top of my head is 3 to 4 visits before that becomes an accepted place that I'll go to regularly, and it's not a choice I'm making each time I go. So like if you find a coffee shop a couple of times in, well, you're just trying it out, or oh, see what this is like. Okay, yeah, well, it's there and I'll pop back in. Once you're in 3 or 4 times, you're starting to now build a habit. You're also accepting the fact that this was good enough that I've intentionally come back. This is quite often why we see loyalty schemes and rewards things to get people in for those number of times to start that ball rolling. So what are you doing to get people to your venue and to return to your venue? We've got to build customer service. We've got to build those relationships. And remember, the team are only going to do that if you're looking after them. So jumping back to the first point, invest in your team so that they invest into the relationships and the conversations and the service to your customers. So really, really important. What are you doing to get people through the door? What are you doing when they leave? I talk about outside the 4 walls when I'm talking at events. What happens when they leave, when they walk out? What are you doing to encourage them to bring other people to your venue? If 2 people come in and they go away, could they bring 2 more people next time? Imagine how quickly your business would grow if that was the case. How are they sharing your business with others? Are you creating content and social media content for them to share so that they can get your business and your brand and your information to their audience? Trust me, you can make it really easy for people and you can grow your business much faster when you understand how it works. When people are having those conversations about your business, just the same as the trends, what are you doing to be a part of that conversation? What are you doing to take part in that conversation, to stay present? How quickly do you respond? If I messaged your business on Facebook or Instagram, or maybe your Google My Business, how quickly would I get a reply? I might even be saying, hey, I want to know if you're open because I'm thinking about coming down. If you don't reply, I'm going to go somewhere else. Because if I message 3 places and one of them replies, I know that they care and I know that they're open, or I've got the information about when they're open, so I can make a decision. If you don't respond, there are some businesses that don't respond at all. There are some that have autoresponders. People want to talk to people. They want to have an actual conversation. They want to feel like you care enough to do that. When we get to the 6K gap, you'll understand why there's a problem with this and why most businesses are struggling with it. If you are, don't worry, you are not alone, and I'm going to give you some solutions to it as well. So think about that. What are you doing to make those people feel valued and appreciated? It's ultimately about building relationships and building outstanding world-class customer service experiences. I can tell you some of the places I've dealt with have not done that recently, but that's definitely something for another time. The next topic on today's Hospitality in 9 is all about not valuing the role of social media. We've talked about your team, we've talked about your customers and building relationships, but social media plays an ever increasing role in your business. Like it or not, people use social media. They look up things online, they're trying to work out what they want to do, they're getting influenced by other people and things that they see. So you need to play in that world of social media. If you personally don't want to be on it and you don't want to do it and you've got no interest, then work with someone who does. Whether that's internally or externally, you have to look at the importance of social media. Unfortunately, in the hospitality industry, it's fast-paced and there's a lot of people involved in a lot of businesses for hospitality. It quite often becomes a part of someone's job. Yes, you heard me right. Usually it's, when you get a minute, can you put some photos on Facebook? Would you mind, grabbing a couple of stories? We've got an act in tonight, so we've got a musician in. That is one of the problems with hospitality venues and social media. You need to be actively involved, actively engaged, and have a strategy for it. It's not do some when it suits, because remember, when those people walk out the door, social media is one way to carry on or to instigate conversations to get new people in who have never been in your venue. They're looking there, they're having conversations there, you need to be a part of it, otherwise you're going to miss out. Help people to familiarize themselves with your brand. How do you talk online? How do you let people connect? How easy do you make it for people? Think about how you can utilize social media, and we won't go platform specific, but how can you use social media to have those conversations, to support people, to answer questions, to encourage people to come in, to help people shop with their eyes by putting up great imagery or videos to encourage people to come in. Have a little think about how you're using social right now, and think about where you might be able to identify gaps before we even go any further. What happens outside the doors? Remember, social media can carry on when they leave the venue. But what happens on social media in the venue as well? What are you doing to encourage people to take their own pictures? User-generated content created by your customers is impartial to you. They're showing their friends, their audience, something that they have enjoyed or really not enjoyed. So remember, the power of it can be good as well as bad. So let's help you to make sure that you're getting as many good experiences from social media as possible. Not valuing it, you're going to miss the opportunity. You have to make time for social media. I don't have time is not an excuse. Everybody has 24 hours in a day. It's about how effectively and how efficiently you use them. And in the world of hospitality, social media plays a crucial role in starting conversations, in getting people through the doors, in helping with customer service situations. It is a huge, huge opportunity, but it is also a very damning platform if you don't get it right. So make sure that you invest in it, that you put time in it, that you allocate budget for it, but also track it and look at what's your return on investment. How is it working for you? What is working for you? And if it's not working, don't say it doesn't work. Try and find the thing about it that does work. Maybe it's just your strategy is a little bit off. So I want to dive into this one a little bit and talk about hospitality versus social media roles. So you heard me talk about the 6K gap earlier. Now, I really want to break this down for you and show you exactly what I mean. This is absolutely mind-blowing to me, and I'm going to bring it up now. This is the average salary for a hospitality manager in the UK. The average hospitality manager in the UK is earning just over £25,000 a year. Personally, I don't think it's enough for the job role that they're doing anyway, but I'm just working off real statistics, and this is all taken from Indeed, which is a job site that surveys people and has real data from real jobs. Now, what's the 6K gap, right? These people in these hospitality manager jobs in the UK are on £25,000 a year. Now, it might not even be a manager that's being asked to take those photos, update the website, do the social media videos, or get on the Instagram stories when something's going on. But let's give the benefit of the doubt that it's someone in a management role. At £25,000 a year, they are currently doing a hospitality management job, which is usually looking after staff. It might be dealing with banking and finance and organisation and ordering. And then they're getting given social media on top of that. Now, if you can make it work, great, and more power to you. But let's have a little look at what this 6K gap really looks like. Social media is a huge role in your business, whether you like it or not, because your customers use it and your competition use it. If you don't use it, you're going to miss out. Social media managers in the UK on average are earning £31,500 a year. A distinct £6,000 gap where they are paid more money than the hospitality manager that you're asking to do half of their job. Hopefully, those statistics scream at you, this is not a part-time job, it is a full-time job and it needs to be taken seriously. If you ask someone to do half of that job for less money than they would if it was their job, you've got to think how much time, effort and energy they're going to put into it. How much of the skill set have they got to do it? Remember that if it's a job that pays more money, there's a lot of training, there's a lot of evolution. It is a constantly changing industry where you've got to have your finger on the pulse to know what's happening, what's changed, how does it work, lengths of videos, dimensions of photos and images. There's so much changing all the time. Arguably one of the fastest changing, most frequently changing industries. I personally don't think that £31,000 is enough for this job, but these are real statistics that we're working with, and this causes a 6k gap between a hospitality manager who's being asked to do some of the work and a social media manager whose full-time job is £6,000 a year more, and it's the only thing they do. They're focused on it and they're doing the job. So think about what that's going to do if you try to pass that work on to someone, and now you might understand why it doesn't work. The 6k gap speaks volumes into this. So I talked to you a little bit about this 6k gap, and I want to talk to you about agency versus team members. So Hospitality in 9 is all about helping you to make the best and most informed decisions, to make the most of every opportunity, and to understand how you can improve your business through marketing, through hospitality knowledge, through digital, through physical, through in-person, through online. We want to help you to grow your business as effectively and efficiently as possible. With 20 plus years in hospitality and over a decade in digital marketing, coupling these things together, I'm going to break down for you why, despite having talked to you about the 6k pay gap and the reason it shouldn't be someone's part-time job, if you're hiring either in-house full-time or working with an agency, I'm going to break down a couple of things. And this is by no means me pitching for business, because we never do that. We are literally approached by people because we give advice, we support and we help people. So let's break this down. If you were to go and hire a team member and it's the first person you've hired for social, they are going to be working on their own. They're going to be isolated. They're going to have a set level of experience and skill set. They've got to take 100% ownership because it is the first person in the role. They're having to take on all of that work. If it's not part of their job, or do it when you get some time, and that might get forgotten. If this is a dedicated role, that person is on their own. What happens if that person is sick? What happens if they can't come in? Think about what happens then. Then you're asking, so you've employed someone, they're full-time, even if you paid them the social media manager's salary and they get sick, you now fall back into the trap of, when you get a minute, could you take some photos? When you get a minute, could you post an Instagram story to a different member of the team who isn't getting that salary as part of their job? The same problem arises unless you have a team of people that means they can cover for each other. The same amount of money that you pay someone to do a social media job in-house for your business, if you invest it with a good agency, you're getting a diverse skill set, and you're also getting cover that if somebody who's working on your project is ill, the agency will cover it. Excuse me. The agency will cover it, and you will still get the same level of service without the stress, without the hassle. So they have a wider skill set. They can cover when they're sick, and they're getting creative input. They're not having to suck up time from other people in your business. They get creative input from people with wide ranges of skills that they spend time with doing creative all the time. I'm not telling you which way to go, but consider this when you're thinking about using someone in-house or hiring for a social media role. It's a full-time role. And do you want to work with an agency or do you want a team member in-house? Really, really think carefully before you make that decision. We are going to go into the Instagram effect now. I want to talk to you about Instagram. People shop with their eyes. People eat with their eyes. There's some absolutely astounding statistics that I'm going to share with you now. If I'm looking off screen a little bit, I want to quote these. I want to know that we've got them right. I want to make sure that you get a real grasp of the Instagram effect. Instagram is literally changing people's shopping habits. It's changing their habits of where they go, and people are aspiring for certain lifestyles that they're seeing through Instagram. It's not exclusive to Instagram, but Instagram is a really powerful platform specifically in food and hospitality. So let me run you through a few of the statistics relating to Instagram. Instagram's got over 1 billion monthly active users, of which half of that, 500 million, are daily active users. 500 million people are daily active users. 500 million of those people are also daily active stories users. Now you might be thinking, well, we're in the UK. How many people of those are in America? If you want statistics for the UK, we have to work with the statistics that are available. The UK statistics for people using Instagram is 28 million people. So if you don't think your customers are on Instagram, just think 28 million people and you don't think a single one of your customers is on Instagram, you might want to think again. If we work with the 50% of people using stories or being daily active users, which means they're in the platform every day, they're in stories every day. If you can connect with them, they're going to see some of your content because you're going to post regularly, you're going to keep it updated, you're going to use the posts and the feed, and you're also going to use stories, and then people can see your content. So to get in front of them, it's not as complicated as you might imagine. You've got to be consistent and you've got to show up. This is, excuse me, this is all content that you've put in the feed or you've put in stories with people you're connected to. Now there's loads more to Instagram that we haven't even talked about yet. Explore section is the part where people go to look for new things. If they want to add things to their feed, they want to see new things, that explore page is visited by 200 million accounts every day. Now yes, they're global, but you can do the percentages again. It's about 20% of people. So out of your 28 million, it's 20% of them. 50% of them are on the explore page every month. So in a month, again, 14 million people in the UK will look at that explore tab. There's things you have to do to get featured into that explore tab, and it's not an exact science, but the more consistent you are and the more you understand the platform and the more you're utilizing it, the more likely you are to be featured in that explore tab. And that's going to get you in front of a huge audience, and it doesn't cost you in actual advertising money, it costs you in the creative excuse me. And that creative could actually be the person you employ, the time that they spend. Here's some great stats for you. Here's some great stats for you. 200 million people, so again, 20% of those are actually visiting at least one business profile a day. If you think it's people just looking at each other and, you know, their friends and contacts, people are looking at least one business profile every single day. Would it be great if that was your business rather than somebody else's? Because trust me, your competition are doing things on different social platforms. If you're not there, you don't know that they're doing it. 60% of people are saying that they're discovering new products on Instagram. People are making purchasing decisions on Instagram. People recommending it, people showing off the products. It is a powerful platform that is going to help you to drive your business when you understand how to use it. A third of the most viewed stories, now let's jump back a minute. The stories, so the number of people watching stories, right, was 14 million people. 1/3 of that, 1/3 of the most viewed stories are from business accounts. So that means people are watching business accounts. So if you think that they're not, 1/3 of the most viewed stories are coming from business accounts. But hold on a minute, I've heard this before. This was like Snapchat. Isn't the platform full of like youngsters and kids, and isn't the platform for them? 33% of all users on Instagram are between 25 and 34. The people with a higher level of disposable income and who are ready to go out and make purchasing decisions. So if you want a piece of that pie, you've got to invest some serious time in Instagram. Now here's the clever bit. You might hire someone, you might have a great strategy and campaign, you might put the best content together, but you're still only going to reach the people through that you discover you through Explore or who are connected to you. User-generated content. The content your customers create when they're in your business or talking about your products and your brand. You can run a competition, you can incentivize it, but a lot of people will post about your business if you are a great business, if you've done the other things. Great customer service, if you've looked after them, if you create amazing products and amazing experiences, people talk about it. It might be in their story, it might be a photo on their feed. But those people and the user-generated content that goes out, you can reuse it, you can reach out to them to see if they want to work with you. But that user-generated content is having 4.5% higher conversion rates to getting people over to look at businesses. If people add locations, that is 79% more engagement. So if those people are adding their locations of being at your premises, that's going to help you be discovered by their audience, who are people that you may not be connected to already. So think about how you can help people to do that. Encourage them. We refer to Instagrammable venues. There are literally places you can now go to take a whole load of photos of yourself in different venues, all in one building, but with different backgrounds and different backdrops. What if your business thought about that? When you next decorate, when you next rearrange, when you next get furniture, what would this look like through an Instagram lens? If I sit in your coffee shop, your restaurant, your hotel, if I took my phone out and I turn 180 or 360 degrees, does every angle look good for a photo? Because if not, maybe you should consider that. If you think it's, all very serious and it's all business, it's not. It's about connecting. It's about fun. It's about engaging with people. More than half of all Instagram captions and comments have emojis in them. That language of pictures, love them or hate them, they're here to stay and people are using them. So think about how you could use it. How could you get known for it? I've got a really good friend who's really well known for her references to fried chicken, and she uses the emoji. And so whenever I see it, it instantly triggers something to make me think about her. So think about what you can do to make your brand really identifiable and that people can discover you, find out more. How can they actually engage with your business and brand online, especially through Instagram? I want to show you something. If you don't think that food shows up on Instagram very often, I'm going to share with you. Quickly find this picture. The most liked picture on Instagram is an egg. Yes, that's right. 55 million views. 55 million likes on this photo of an egg. They did it to set a world record, and sure enough, people took to it, which shows that you can get a lot of engagement on something as simple as an egg. So have a think about what you could do. How could you incentivize it? How could you encourage people to engage? How can you get people to share and comment and engage and bring their friends and their audience to you so that you get that engagement? You might not get 55 million, but 55 on your first day would be great. 550 would be better. 5,500 would be incredible for most businesses. So have a think about that. If you start to utilize videos, obviously I'm here teaching you on video. We talked about stories having a high level of engagement and people being in there. If you start to use videos, you're going to get twice the level of engagement. That's a statistic straight from Instagram, twice the engagement that photos do. So if you post videos, whether they're in your feed or in stories, you're going to get more engagement. That's just the nature and the way that people are consuming, and the trend that we talked about, the trends that are pushing forwards that you need to be aware of and taking part in. Again, if you don't think that food is relevant to Instagram, the most Instagrammable food is pizza. Now, you might not sell pizza and you might think, oh, that's terrible for me. That will change. It is the current trend. But remember, it's down to how many people are really encouraging and engaging and interacting on social. Why not look at building your business, your brand, one product range to be your most Instagrammable for you, not globally, but for you. And you never know, you might just become like that egg and suddenly explode online. One thing that is absolutely mind-blowing when it comes to food and social media and people posting, especially when it comes to Instagram, I've got to share a news article with you that I've seen online this week. Instagram insanity. A third of social media users order food just to take the pictures. So people's habits are changing. Like I said, excuse me. Like I said, these articles, all the links are next to the video and in the blog. People's habits are changing. People are using Instagram to show things that they like. It's not necessarily something that they might want to eat. They might actually buy it to take the photos to share. But to you, that's a free advert for your business. They bought it because it looks good. They bought it because it's going to make a great picture. When they share it, I'm not encouraging or endorsing any kind of waste of food. Don't misunderstand this. But that is a free advert for your business. In fact, it is an advert where they have paid for the product that they've put in it. Great for your business, great for your reach, and great for getting your brand out there. Now I'm going to whistle in because we've got a whole load more things to cover here, but hopefully that's given you an insight to Instagram and why Instagram is so important as part of your business strategy. I want to talk to you now about the pitfalls of creating media when it comes to photos and videos for your business or your brand. I want to remind you that it is an investment, it is not a cost. Most businesses fall into that trap of seeing it as a cost and directly looking at it and going, don't want to spend that money on it. If you understand that it's an investment, and if you use social media right and you spend time creating good content and understanding how it works on different platforms and the nuances of those, it becomes an investment, not a cost. Because when you do it, it should start to create a direct response that comes back, and you can relate the return on investment of how much money you've spent. So if you spent $1 and got $5 back, or £1 and got £1 back, you've got to know what those figures are. You need to know that for every pound you put in, you get £5 back. Great. So how much money are you going to put in? Well, if every pound you put in, you got £5 back, why would you limit it? So have a think about that. And it's obviously going to change. It's going to ebb and flow. But have a look at what those statistics look like. But have that in mind when you run a strategy. We're going to run this for X amount of time, see how it works, measure it, tweak it, improve it. That is literally how the social media world works, and why I think that 35,000 or 31,000 it was underpaid. Is it's such a fast-paced industry. There's so much to consider and so much to track and measure throughout everything, especially if you're working across multiple platforms. It's going to seem like a lot of money to pay someone, and to pay for maybe some ads, and to, maybe pay for creatives as well, and maybe pay out to get influencers or to produce product for people. But when it's done right, that investment is going to pay you back in multiples. There are people who will always err on the side of caution, and there's Lots and lots of business owners who have a friend who can do it, or my cousin or my nephew or whatever. If it is not a job role in the business or an agency, just because they can, it doesn't mean that they should. Now, you might have someone who's family and great, and you can come to an agreement and it works, but for the majority of people, that's not the case. Seems like a good idea until they're not doing it. Then family relationships or friendships become strained. You feel awkward having those conversations, but there was never really an agreement. So get it in place with whoever it is you're going to work with, friends, family, whatever. Make sure that you know exactly what you're getting, what you're paying, and what the expectations are on both sides. You need to know what you want, but more importantly, what you need. A lot of businesses that we work with think that they want something until we break down how things work, what we think they should do, the strategy. Suddenly they realize the things that they need are very different to what they thought they wanted in the first place. So have a think about what you want, what you need, and if you need some help building that strategy or talking through, feel free to grab some time in my diary, and we can chat a little bit more, and I can help you to flesh that out and work out what that looks like. You need to look at creating effectively and efficiently. A lot of people do stuff on the fly. It's not really thought through. It falls into that trap of do some when you get a minute. I don't want you to fall into that trap. So plan, have a strategy, create space for it, and then go create content. The same way I'm creating content now, long form content, and then I'm going to create a whole load of other content that supports this. It is strategic. It is planned. We've got notes. We've got referencing. You need to do the same, even if it's pictures of your food, your cocktail menu, your coffees, your inside your venue. Take a day and create media. Like, create a lot of media, and this is going to come up in the next bit. Create a lot of media effectively and efficiently, and then stagger using it and use it strategically. Which leads me really nicely on to organization and comms when it comes to media, including your storage. I want you to think about everything that you create, digital media, photos, videos, even your stories in Instagram, if you're backing them up and saving them. I want you to consider everything not as a cost, but an investment. If you're investing in it, I want you to consider it as an asset. You're going to look after your assets, which means you need to store them somewhere. I'm not precious about where you store it. Maybe you've already got a Dropbox account or a Box account. Personally, we use Google Workspace and Drive because it's a great way to back it up. We also have Google Photos, which automatically backs up from our mobile devices when we're out taking, stories and photos and things like that. I want you to plan, or we can have a conversation and we can help you plan what you're going to do with the digital assets that you create. We take photos at events and venues. We back them up into Drive and share them with our clients. When we back those up for our clients, it means they're already backed up, they're stored, they're saved, and we get to that next part of comms where we share it with other people. If you're doing it internally, if you don't want to work with an agency who knows how to do all of that, you have to consider who needs access to this. How are they going to access it? Are we all using one account to get in? Are we sharing it with people? Who's responsible for that? When does it happen? What is the system for making sure that that works every single time? Make sure that you use all of the tools. That could be notifications, that could be emails, that could be, like I said, Drive or Dropbox or Box. You could have your own storage solution. But understand that there are tools that are going to make your life quicker, easier, and more efficient. Just because you've paid a high salary for someone to do a social media job, if you hire them in-house, you need to pay for the tools to allow them to do the best job. Think about a real life example of having a chef and not giving them any knives. It's the same in social media. Social media people need tools. Maybe it's a phone that they can use that you're not relying on their own. You shouldn't be getting people to log in on their own devices to do this. You need the tools to do it. Maybe it's a software scheduling tool. We personally use Agora Pulse. If you want to test it out and try it, drop me a message. I'll send you a link and you can try it free for 2 months to see if it works for you. We can walk you through how we use it and how we queue our content up so we don't have to be there all the time. Because I know, having worked in hospitality, it is manic, it is busy, and you haven't got time to stop. So if that's the case, get that content done effectively and efficiently. get it scheduled, and then spend any of the time that you're spending on social, having conversations, engaging with people and building those relationships, because that's what's going to make you money in the long run. You have to be there and present with content, but you're more important to be in the conversations. Moving on to the next point is, don't rest on your previous successes. You're only as good as the last coffee, the last meal, the last hotel room that someone stayed in. Whatever it is that you do for people, that last service is the thing that you should be focused on. Every experience should be continually getting better. Now, I understand, having spent 20 years in the industry, that it is not possible all the time to be, it's not an infallible thing. It's sometimes not going to go well. But how do you deal with things when things don't go well? Do you own it? Do you talk to people? Are you communicating? Are you just brushing it off and blaming it on other people? You have to try and create the very best experience every time and be ready to embrace when things don't go right. What do we do? How do we solve this? How do we turn a bad experience into an incredible experience? If someone has a good experience, they probably won't tell anyone. If someone has an okay experience, they probably won't tell anyone. If they have a great experience, they're going to tell people. If they have a bad experience, they're going to tell everyone. So if you can manage those situations, if you can have those conversations, if you can connect with those people, build the relationship, create the opportunities, they are learning opportunities in your business to change your processes so it doesn't happen again. But they're also great opportunities to create advocates within your customer base who will go and tell other people. It is free marketing when you do it right. I'm not saying get it wrong intentionally, but when a bad situation happens, think about how you can turn it around into a good situation. Here's the clincher. The last point of today's Hospitality in 9 is, don't be afraid to learn or to ask for help. So many people think that they've got to work it all out for themselves and they've got access to Google and we can watch it all on YouTube. That's great, except there's so much there. There's an abundance of information and lots of it similar but maybe a little bit contradictory and you're not sure which bits to do. Don't be afraid to ask people who've done it before. If you work with an agency, ask them questions. If you've got someone in the team who suggests something, ask them how that would work. Get to know, understand. There's so many resources available to you. One thing I will say is, be wary. There's so many free things online where they hold back in the content because they want to upsell you something else. Like when we do 20-minute strategies for free to introduce people to our services, we treat them as if they are a full paying one-to-one customer so they can get the experience. That's what you want to create in your business when you deal with people. Understand that sometimes you're going to have to go through that process. Sometimes you're going to have to pay to get that strategic consulting. Sometimes you're going to have to pay for that resource to learn exactly how to do something. But make sure that you do your research, your due diligence, and understand that those people really do know what they're talking about. Hopefully after listening to me for an hour, or if you're catching this in small pieces, go and grab the other bits from the hashtag Hospitality in 9. Go check them out. There's lots of content all over the web coming out around this. I'm going to deep dive each of the topics into even more detail than we do in this one collective, just covering 9 points. Consultants are going to save you a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of headache, and a lot of money in the long term. Yes, everybody wants a quick win, but sometimes you need that strategic consulting to get everything in place. Maybe you don't have an agency run it, you have a team member in-house, but you bring a consultant in to help build the strategy so that that team member has a little bit of support, a little bit of backing, and a plan that they go into, rather than landing them with everything, which could be really overwhelming. You can benefit from the experiences and even the problems and challenges of other people. It's good to sometimes learn in a group because those other business owners can share their real life experiences with you. So how can you learn from them? What can you learn from them? How can you avoid their mistakes? It's the same as coaching and mentoring. Those people who can go before you and have been through it and can show you, or those people who know how it works, have understood it, and can bring out the very best in you and for your business. Whichever route you go on this, don't be afraid to ask for help, be prepared to learn, and be prepared to learn from the right people who can really understand what you want, what your business is about, and can push you forward so that you fast track your success. I really hope that you've enjoyed this very first Hospitality in 9. We're just setting the schedule for how often this is going to be rolling out, but it's going to be constant content coming out all throughout the month. The long form content less frequently, but there'll be reminders coming up throughout our socials, and literally follow the hashtag Hospitality in 9. That's Hospitality IN 9. And also, if you know anyone else who's in the hospitality industry, please do tag them below this content. Share this with them in their inbox, or text them, or just tell them, look up the hashtag Hospitality in 9. We're going to be putting out regular content covering all sorts of topics around dealing with customer service, dealing with social media, digital marketing, building a good team, even maximizing your profits. And who knows, we may even be holding a Hospitality in 9 event at some point over the next year. So keep your ear to the ground, keep your eyes peeled on social media, and thank you so much for hanging with me on the first of this series of Hospitality in 9. If you don't know who I am, I've been Tristan Griffiths. You can find me as ImTristanG across all the socials. The most important part of this is, if you've got questions, get them below the video, drop them in the blog. I want to know what you're thinking about this, what your biggest takeaway was, how this resonated with you. Did it make sense? Did you take something away from it? Is there a topic that you'd like me to broach next? Because with that much hospitality experience and this much digital marketing experience, I want to give you the very best. It's not about me. This is all about you. If you're a cafe owner, a restaurant owner, I've got a bar or a hotel or a B&B, or maybe you've got Airbnbs. I want to help you out. If you're in the hospitality industry, I'm super passionate about it. I know it's been absolutely slammed throughout COVID. I can't wait to connect with you a little bit more. Remember, you can find me as ImTristanG across all the socials. Drop me a question, find that hashtag, comment under the posts that we're putting out and the blogs and the videos. And I can't wait to help you again with another Hospitality in 9 very, very soon.